At 2 o'clock in the morning, I woke up from a deep sleep to the sound of a vehicle running right next to where I'm parked here. There was also a motorcycle next to it. That's when they floor it, right? They just spin out and take off down this road. For this adventure, I just hit gravel, and now it's time for us to find a campsite. This episode is a two-parter. The first part is going to be an overland adventure. We are going to head out this gravel road, and we're going to find a place to camp tonight. Then, coming up next week will be part 2. We are very close to a forest that I want to explore tomorrow. So tomorrow, all we have to do is drive down the road, park, and then we'll hit the forest together. Now, my friends, we need to cruise up this road, find a place to stop for tonight. Let's see what we can find. Wish me luck, folks. Anytime you head out a forest road, you never know what's going to happen, what you're going to find. We shall see. Folks, let's get driving. Let's find a site. I've been out this road before. In fact, I came out here years ago. I remember a campsite. In my memory, it was a good one, but you know how that goes. My memory could be off by just a little bit. But there's one spot in mind, that's where we're headed first. So far, the road is in pretty good shape. It's rocky, but it's not bad at all. This road is no problem for trails. That's right, everybody. I have come up with the official name for the 4Runner, Trails. Now, unfortunately, I don't feel comfortable getting out, setting up the tripod, and filming drive-by shots and all that stuff. This road is really, really narrow. And because traffic can go each way, I really don't want to be the guy who clogs this up because I'm trying to film something. If memory serves me correct, the spot that I'm thinking of is a mile or two down this way. I'll tell you what, everybody, this road is super narrow. Some of this stuff, I mean, it's like you got rhododendron on this side and a drop off on that side. This road is getting worse and worse and worse. Luckily, I think right up here is the spot I was thinking of. Once we get there, we'll make a decision on what we're going to do. This is even better than what I remember, folks. This is perfect. Now, this is interesting, everybody. There's an elevated fire risk for this afternoon. A combination of gusty winds up to 25 miles an hour with low humidity levels means that there's a strong chance of spreading wildfires. Because of that, we will have to consider very carefully whether or not we want to have a fire this evening. There isn't a fire ban in place, but it is breezy, and I can tell you all, it is dry. This place is nice, everybody. I mean, it really is. I'm surprised to see how clean it is, considering this is a national forest campsite. Luckily, we are out here in the middle of nowhere, but the thing is this road is not terribly messed up. It's not that bad. You couldn't get out here in a car, but your typical SUV, typical truck, you could. Because of that, I'm surprised. I have to admit it, I'm surprised. More times than not, out here in the country with these national forests, oftentimes those campsites, they're just destroyed. But this one here, it's not. In fact, you could tell that it's used, but still, it's not overly done so. There is dry firewood all over this place. That tells me that not many people come out here, which is nice. Cheers to you all, and cheers to this nice campsite. Oh, man. Man, this feels so good, everybody. Right now, the temperature is about 64 degrees, and it is breezy. It feels really, really nice, especially here in the shade. Now, I wish I could tell you all I was drinking the best coffee of all time, but that's not the case. I am drinking a tasty cup of Theraflu. I'm sure you all have noticed how I sound a little bit nasally and whatnot. That's because I am getting over the flu. I haven't been sick in years, but last week in the previous adventure, I was wrapping it all up, and I started feeling a little bit rough. I was coughing a little bit, and I was like, oh no, I'm sure it's allergies. I think I said something to you all about like, it's just allergies. It was not. It was the full-on flu. I was sick there for about a week. I would say 3 days of that I felt terrible, and the other days I felt all right. Today I feel pretty dang good. I may sound awful. Hopefully I don't look too bad. I feel good though, so yeah. I figured we would come out here in the middle of nowhere for this adventure. We would do some camping in the 4Runner, and then tomorrow, as I mentioned before, we'll hop in the 4Runner, we'll drive some. There's a pull-off where I'm going to leave the 4Runner, and then I'm going to head into the woods. That, everyone, is my plan. Now, as far as this campsite goes, you know, truth be told, there's not much for me to do. I mean, everything here is in such good shape. We have plenty of shade here and on the other side of this hill. All I need to do is get the back of the 4Runner ready for tonight, set up a table, a chair, get ready to cook, and that's it. As it stands right now, folks, it is 4:15. The sun goes down at 8:05. The sun comes up at 6:42. I'll tell you what, this place is awesome. I haven't seen anybody all day. I haven't heard anything. It's just you and I. To kind of give you the layout of the land here, we came down this road. The road continues on. Where it goes, I have no idea. We've just pulled off here, and this is where we're going to camp tonight. I've been thinking about where I want to set up my camp at as far as like the table, the chair, and all that stuff. And I think like right here next to the 4Runner, that makes sense, right next to this road. As I've said, I've seen absolutely nobody. Plus, there's something very comforting about this spot. The way that the road comes down and wraps around, it's very cool. I don't know, I just like it. I like it right here. If I see one vehicle, I will move the table and the chair over there, get it out of the way, get some privacy. I don't think we will though. Anyways, everyone, with the afternoon coming on strong, let's go ahead and make a cup of coffee before it's too late. When I fired up that stove there, that reminded me of something. I guess it was a few months ago, I received an email from someone. Basically, I had done a stove review, and he was writing to tell me good job, and he also was telling me that I was using it correctly. He went on and said that there was another YouTuber who was not using the same stove correctly. He wanted me to reach out to her so I could tell her. I went ahead and I told him the truth. I told him that she was not replying because obviously she does not care. No one wants to be told that they're doing something incorrectly, especially when it's something trivial. Plus, most people will not respond to negativity. Most will delete or block, or maybe even both. And they will go upon their day and never think about it ever again. Nobody cares. Or I should say, most people, most YouTubers, they do not care. If someone has something mean to say, something nasty to say, no one gives a shit. Delete, ban, that's it. It's pretty simple. Now this is pretty funny, everybody. I have a YouTube friend. It's somebody who I've not mentioned on the channel before. It's another YouTube channel. I'm not going to mention his name now, and here's why. This individual films videos about him camping and cooking. He does a lot of cooking, in fact. The thing is this. Oftentimes, he does things incorrectly just to upset people, upset his viewers. His goal is to set people off, to get them upset, get them talking in the comments, and even shoot him emails. He doesn't care. He loves it. The individual who I'm talking about is likely watching this episode. I hope you're doing well, buddy. You are, without a doubt, too funny. As far as the time goes, it is now 5:10. Talk about a beautiful afternoon. I've been sitting here just listening to the crows. They are surrounding me right now. Just tons of them. So are the gnats, actually. But, it really is a beautiful day. It's surprising to me that nobody else is out here. With that being said, though, I don't know if this is a popular area or not. Where I'm at, I've only been one time, that was many years ago, and I don't even know what you would call this area. My phone, like with the weather app, says it's something. I shared this with a friend of mine who used to live in this area. He said this area is known for being beautiful, and it's also known for mountain people, mountain folk. Oftentimes when someone hears the term mountain people, they get somewhat like afraid or maybe even scared or intimidated, namely because of like really shitty movies and nonsense TV shows. Living in the Appalachian Mountains, I get asked all the time whether or not there's any truth to the stories of like mountain people and whatnot. People separated from civilization and whatnot. It's not true. None of it. The simple truth is there's no area anymore that's considered remote. Take where I grew up for an example. That was considered remote at one point in time. And there were some isolated communities. You know, it's not like they didn't go to town or they didn't see people or anything like that. The thing is this, if you had gone into their neck of the woods, you would have made a big mistake. If you went uninvited, you probably would have paid for it. I know how ridiculous that sounds, but those areas were extremely, extremely private, and those people would not put up with anything like that. The old stories of people taking wrong turns, getting beat up and stuff like that, they're true. Or they were true, not anymore. Things like that just simply do not happen. Civilization has just come into just about all of these areas up here. And it continues on down into South Carolina, into Georgia, all the way up into Virginia, and so on. I would say 99% of the mountain folk who still exist in the area are fantastic. I would say 1% are bad apples that give everybody a bad name. But that is how it goes in any area, any region. The people that I'm talking about in most cases are the first ones to pull over and to help you change a flat tire if you have an issue. That is what most people would consider true Southern hospitality. The flip side of that is that with some of these people, if you were ever to insult them, they would probably give you a beating like you've never had before in your life. They might beat you close to death. Seriously. I mean, some of the people that I know to this day, I mean, it's just in their genes, in their blood. They're the first one to help you out if you have a problem. But if you cross that line, and sometimes you don't know what that line is, right? It's not clear. But if you cross it, they're going to hurt you really, really bad. You could say it's a Southern thing, you could say it's a mountain thing, but it is a thing. No doubt about it. Without a doubt, this is a beautiful place. I am curious, where does this go, right? The road itself is getting in pretty bad shape. I'd say like the last mile or so, the road was really, really rough. I had to go super, super slow. There were some serious washouts, like some over a foot deep. I was able to cross them in the 4Runner here, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe in the future, we will continue on this road and see where it goes. Speaking of the 4Runner, I have officially named it. It is Trails. What do you all think? Comment down below. Is that a good name for our new ride? Oh yeah. Now, the 2025 4Runners have been announced. They are certainly sweet, but I'm glad that I got this one. The last of this generation, all of the bugs, the issues, they've been worked out. This 4Runner is going to last forever. You all may remember the last 4Runner that I had, the silver one. We put over 300,000 miles on that vehicle. My son drove that thing until basically it just rusted in half. Seriously, it became unstable. It was unsafe to drive. He had to get rid of it. And now he's driving another Toyota. That's funny. Living in the mountains will destroy every single vehicle because all of the salt that is used in the wintertime. Man, that stuff, it is awful. But yeah, folks, make sure to let me know what you all think about the name of Trails. I want to take a second here and talk about my setup because this is super, super simple. What I have here is a sleeping pad, sleeping bag on top, 2 pillows. That's that. I have all of my other gear right here on the side, out of the way. I have a toilet bucket up there, along with a power station. On top of all of that, I have my backpack for tomorrow's adventure. Over the windows with the doors here, I have some mesh being held into place with magnets. This keeps out all the bugs and whatnot. There's a handful of companies that make these sort of products, and they do vary in price. They can be quite expensive or at the same time quite inexpensive, just depending on who you want to go with. As you all can see here, my setup is very simple. There's nothing to it. At the same time, it's really inexpensive. Of course, I'm not talking about the cost of the vehicle. Outside of that, the cost of going camping with a setup like I have here, super inexpensive. That sleeping bag is probably 20 years old. It is well used, well loved, and still incredibly warm. One of my favorite bags ever. I've had it for bloody ever. The sleeping pad that I've thrown in the back here is an old military sleeping pad. The truth is, everybody, if you go out for a camping trip and it's super simple to set up, very easy, I promise you, you will have a better time than you did if you were to go set up a gigantic tent with a ton of junk. Super elaborate campouts may look like a lot of fun to the viewers who are watching them, but the truth is the people who are going out on those trips, who are having to set up all of that garbage, they're not having fun. They're spending all day long setting that stuff up just so that you all can look at it. They don't really have the time to even sit back to enjoy it. The truth is, most of those people are rather annoyed, I promise you that. That's why I tend to keep my camping trips rather simple. And when you compare the type of campouts that I do, even with big tents, even when I bring in cots and so on, it's still simple. Compared to everybody else, very, very simple. And that, my friends, is my style. Now, of course, everybody has their own style, do whatever you want to, but I promise you, the more time that you have to sit around to enjoy nature, the happier that you're going to be. Tell you what, everybody, because the light's going to be gone so soon and because I'm getting so hungry, why don't we go ahead and make dinner? Tonight's dinner is going to be incredible. By the way, folks, just in case you don't know this, when you hold your hand up to the sun and you measure downwards, each finger is about 15 minutes. So you can roughly gauge how much time you have until the sun gets to the peak of a mountain or the horizon. We have about an hour before the sun goes behind the mountains there. Everybody, this looks and smells so incredibly good. What I have here is rather simple, but at the same time, super tasty, or at least I hope. I'm having a steak melt with onions, peppers, some gooey cheese on top. All of this is on ciabatta bread. On the side, I have buttery mashed potatoes. Let's try out the potatoes. Let's go. It's pretty good. Even for instant, it is awesome actually. Now that I'm sitting down and I'm eating, I realize I am super hungry. Let's give the steak sandwich a shot. That is so simple, but yet so good. Mind-blowing. This is so good, folks. It's so good, in fact, that I've just been eating instead of talking. Sorry about that. We have about 15 minutes before the sun goes down. I figured I better eat up before it gets dark. I'd like to eat dinner and get everything cleaned up before it gets dark. Speaking of which, let's check the weather real quick. That is going to be the deciding factor on whether or not I have a fire. The forecast is partly cloudy, low around 41, winds as high as 44 miles an hour. Because of that, we're not going to have a fire. As it stands right now, I mean, it's breezy, it's not bad, but everything is dry. And because of that, I'm not going to take any chances. Let's be safe instead of sorry. The good thing is that we've come to this site. We know it's a good one. There's tons of firewood. We will, without a doubt, be back. In the future, for sure. This, everybody, is a fantastic email. I'll tell you what, let's take a second here. I want to do some shout outs real quick. The first shout out goes to Luke. He's the one who just sent me this email. First off, I want to say, buddy, thank you so much for your service to our country. I greatly appreciate it. I cannot imagine what you saw while you were doing what you were doing. That's all I'm going to say about that. Luke is a Green Beret, and he stated that my videos and the channel here got him through some of the worst deployments he ever went through. You're thanking me, and I'm thanking you. We'll thank each other, my friend. But I'm glad you're doing well. Thank you so much for the email. I really do appreciate it. Next, we have Jason. Thank you for everything that you sent in. There's a good possibility that I'm going to review some of it. Thank you so much. Christopher, thank you so much for the coffee. I greatly appreciate it, buddy. You are the man. You are fueling my adventures, such as this one. Thank you very much for the meals, Daniel. I really do appreciate it. Delta, thank you so much for writing and for sharing what you did. I really do appreciate it. I am so happy to hear that you've been able to make some changes in your life, that you're happy, you're content, and that you are getting out yourself and you're enjoying life. That is what strength and honor is all about. That's right, folks. Strength and honor is all about what you have in here. It's not just about having courage and standing up for what's right. It's about making tough decisions, going through processes that are tough, for putting your feet down and doing the work. No excuses, no bullshit. That is what strength and honor is about. It's individual, it's personalized, and for each of us, it could be something different. It's easy to let ourselves, our lives, our bodies, our health go to hell, and then sit back and complain about it. Or we could do something about it. Nothing is too late. Nothing is set in stone. We all have the ability to get up, get moving, and to change things. I can't stand it when people complain. I don't want to hear it. Every single one of us right now have it better than everyone else throughout history. We have it so good. Everybody faces tough times. Everybody faces challenges. That's life. So when I hear from those who have done challenging things to improve their lives, improve themselves, whatever it may be, and of course for standing up and doing what's right, for helping others, I am super impressed. I hear an owl. That's when you know that night is coming on. Well, my friends, we are now inside of the 4Runner. It is dark out and night is upon us. As far as the time goes, it's almost 9 o'clock and I am done. I'm tired. I am ready to go to sleep so I can get up tomorrow and do my backpacking adventure. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before I hopped in the 4Runner, I did a little exploring of this area, and there's some oddities here. For one thing, there's multiple piles of rocks all over the place in the middle of nowhere for some reason. Somebody put those rocks there by hand, and I wonder why. Next, right down the road here from where I'm parked, there used to be a gate. All that's left are the posts. That is not part of a National Forest gate system. That's like Farmer John's type of gate system. So, I don't know. That's a little bit weird. I'm not sure what that's all about. The National Forest Service puts up barricades that you cannot get through. Something like that, you can easily get through it. You can cut it down. You can tear it out of the ground. Without a doubt, that was locally done. With that being said, though, there's no fencing, nothing like that. In fact, there's no farms out here. What is going on exactly? I have no idea. I did see that somebody was trying to chop down a tree and they had no clue how to use an axe or a hatchet at all. That was likely the first time they've ever handled one. It's pretty bad. Anyways, everybody, I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to kick back, enjoy the cool breeze coming in. It feels good. I will see you all in the morning, or I'll come back if something interesting happens. Good night, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. As far as the time goes, it is now 8:30. It's raining outside, incredibly lightly, but it's raining. The good thing is that the rain is about to move out. It's almost over. And because of that, I'll tell you what, let me get my jacket on and let's step out. Hopefully you all can see me. It is surprisingly dark for this hour. It's going on to 9 o'clock. It's pouring outside. But once this is done, it should be over. And the rest of the day is going to be clear. As far as the wind goes, nothing really happened last night. The forecast was for gusts up to 44 miles an hour, but no, nothing. That doesn't mean that last night went smoothly, because it did not. I had 2 rather strange encounters while sleeping in the vehicle here next to this road. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I woke up from a deep sleep to the sound of a vehicle running right next to where I'm parked here. There was also a motorcycle next to it. I wake up and I'm a little bit confused. I'm not sure what's going on, but their lights are shining right against the 4Runner going up the hill here. So let's say if somebody was camping over there, they would have been woken up, they would have been irritated. And that's when they floor it, right? They just spin out and take off down this road. Roughly 2 hours later, around 4 o'clock in the morning, they come back. This time the motorcycle, he carries on, but the person in the Jeep, they come up and slow down real slow and shine their lights over the campsite here. Then as the Jeep is going around the corner here, they rev up their engines, spin their tires, and all that shit. Basically just being obnoxious. Now, I didn't film any of this. I didn't have my hand on the camera. I had my hand on my handgun, to be honest. It was, without a doubt, a very interesting night. I did sleep good, folks. I really did. But my friend was right about the mountain folk out here. Did you all happen to watch Tom Green's YouTube channel a few years ago during like the COVID pandemic? He purchased a van, had it basically set up for like overlanding, and he went across the country, mainly in the desert areas. So there was one episode where, I think it was actually 2 episodes actually, he stated that he was out in the desert at some campsite. In the middle of the night, a car pulls in front of his van and turns on their high beams and sat there and did not leave. Eventually he got up, got in the driver's seat, and then took off. From there, he went and purchased a shotgun to carry with him on his adventures. In my experiences when it comes to national forest areas, because they're so remote, there's no law enforcement, it's basically a no man's land. You can do anything that you want to out here, and people do. 99.9% of the time, it's gonna be just fine. You may have some people, some rednecks, whatever you wanna call them, whatever, you may have them come out. They may be loud, they may be drinking, you never know. They could be on something harder than that. Again, most of the time, you're not going to have any sort of issues, but that element is there. Growing up here in the mountains, I've seen this activity my entire life. The thing is, I've never really had an issue. This is actually kind of weird. Anytime that you're in a national forest area, at a campsite, it seems like every vehicle that goes by stops for some reason. I have no idea why this is, but I have experienced this, seriously, my entire life. I've never had an issue. I've never had the individual or individuals get out of their vehicle. But I've experienced that over and over and over, just like last night. Anyways, everybody, outside of that event last night, I slept great. The back of the 4Runner is fantastic for trips like this. This really does work well. The system could be refined just a little bit, but for the first go, the first time, it was pretty smooth. Talk about a cool area with some interesting people who like to enjoy the area. I think that's the nicest way to put it. All right, folks, it is now about 9:30. Let's check the radar real quick, and let's come up with a plan. Okay, the rain is moving out, and that means so am I. My friends, I want to thank you very much for joining me for this trip. I do appreciate it. This is part 1. Part 2 is coming up next week. My plan now is to drive to where I'm going to ditch the vehicle. It is time for a backpacking adventure. If you have enjoyed this episode, hit the thumbs up. It does help the channel quite a bit. If you want to join the Wolf Pack, you can do so. Patreon, YouTube, oh yeah. Folks, be good, be safe. I will see you all next week. Bye for now.